my thing is doing a thing, and I can't really do anything about it. I will have to let the nature run its course. But we have to talk about what's important. One afternoon, Lee was walking with Carl by the Amsterdam Avenue Park. Suddenly, Carl bowed slightly and shook Lee's hand. "Best of luck," he said, and ran for a streetcar. Lee stood looking after him, then walked over into the park and sat down on a concrete bench that was molded to resemble wood. Blue flowers from a blossoming tree had fallen on the bench and on the walk in front of it. Lee sat there watching the flowers move along the path in a warm spring wind. The sky was clouding up for an afternoon shower. Lee felt lonely and defeated. "I'll have to look for someone else," he thought. He covered his face with his hands. He was very tired. He saw a shadowy line of boys. As each boy came to the front of the line, he said "best of luck" and ran for a streetcar. We have to talk about William Burroughs and his book Queer, which the quote was from. We need to talk about it. Very serious. I'm very serious. No, I'm silly. Very silly. Is there someone there? Why do I keep turning? I have a kiwi though. So I read this book when I was about, I think, 16. And it's been one of my favorite books ever since, and I always say that my favorite writer #1 is William Burroughs. And I have a favorite writer #2. That's all I have. For some reason. And recently, why am I saying recently? To sound like I'm in academia or something. Yesterday, I watched the movie Queer, the 2024 movie Queer by director whose name I can't pronounce, Luca something, because I didn't check it. Because obviously I can pronounce it, but I didn't check the pronunciation. Shame on me. So now I want to talk about the film, the book, and then my autistic connection to it. So first of all, I just want to give like a review of the film, because it was interesting. Oh, and today I read the book. I reread the book today. I had some points there. Let me look at the points, because I wrote like a short post about it. It's gonna give me some ideas where to go. I have a lot to say. Come on! Yeah, okay, so let's start with the boring stuff. It's a very beautiful movie. When I was reading the book today, and like in general, when I read Burroughs' books, they're kind of dirty. Not in that sense, they're just like dirty in this kind of sense. It's like cheap, old, kind of like trashy places. Obviously, because it's like all about drugs and that sort of thing. Beatnik kind of culture. So the visuals that I get, at least the vibe that I get, because I don't really get the visuals, but it's a topic for another video. It's like a very dirty place. And today when I was reading the book, I saw those descriptions of like, oh, everything is like at my house. It's like at home. But the movie is not like that. It's not... I don't mind it. It's really nice. It has a very distinct visual style. It looks a bit cartoonish, because like it's as if it's like a model of something. I don't know, this, it's like a model set of a city or like nature, even nature looks a bit like that. A bit like it is a movie set, because it is a movie set, but it's shot in a way that it looks like a movie set, so it's an interesting visual choice, visual style. And, oh shit. And a bit theatrical. It has parts. The movie has parts, of course it's fucking theatrical. With like writing on the screen, part 1, something. What is that? This doesn't need to be covered. It's very pretty. It's just interesting to watch it. The second point is it's very like very faithful to the text. Funnily enough, actually didn't expect it. There are some, like it diverges, like significantly diverges from the text in the third part of the movie, because it's just not in the book entirely. Most things there. But the very first part, especially the very first part, the second part to a degree, there are some liberties there. They have been taken, but the very first part is just like fucking word to word. Even the very small words. So I first watched the film, and using my kind of distant now memory of the book, so I kind of compared the film with my like this kind of more general memory of the book. I didn't realize how faithful to the text it is, but today when I was reading, I was like, oh shit, I saw those like antlers on the on the walls in that like restaurant or bar or whatever that was. So a lot of small, very small things, like very small scenes, like kind of speeches, they're there, and the speeches are quoted verbatim, not quoted, they're performed. So that's very interesting. The film is very queer. The book is not. So the film focuses on the queer aspect of the book, queer, on the relationship. And there is like a queer romantic, let's say queer romantic lens the director is using, and it's much more sexual than the book is, because the book is just, what do I have in here? Yeah, the book is like emotion problem, monologue, emotion. Oh, we're gonna do it later, he said. So it's just like really the word the fucking word later, which is like, you know, there is no description of any deed. The movie shows the deeds. Very nice. And it has like a queer cinema, because it's focused on the relationship. The book is not, in my opinion. The book is about. So I think the director, because I've also seen some interviews with Daniel Craig, the actor, the main actor there, and I think the director too. Well, with someone, and I think they kind of took it as like a love story, tragic and complicated and weird because it's Burroughs, but it's about a relationship for them, and the movie is about the relationship. The book, not so much. I think it's about the person, the avatar of Burroughs, of William Burroughs, and it's more about like him functioning as a person, or rather not functioning as a person. But I understand why the director made the choice he wanted to do that. So I read this, like, he read the book when he was 17, and he wanted to show, again, opinion here, like, what emotions the book caused him. So it's kind of like that. Very nice. One big difference between the film and the book that I found really interesting. So the book is very third person. It's just as if there are several degrees of separation between the author and the character. The author is like so out of it. He's kind of playing, he's pretending not to even be there, not to even exist. It's so kind of like, my hands are behind my back. I'm not doing anything here. I'm just relaying the information. It's so distant, so detached. It's like the author doesn't exist. It only exists. The author only exists in this kind of clinical, a bit pathologizing view that we get at the character, at Lee. So we kind of observe him, the things he says, especially the thing he says, some things he does, and even a lot of things, they're like feelings, a lot of things he feels. There is like, there are barriers between the author and that. So the author is kind of looking, it like seems to me that the author is kind of looking at this person, at this character, or a person they once was, and they're kind of describing them, this character from outside. I'm still coughing, sorry. Which is a choice. I actually enjoy it. It's complicated. At least for me, it's hard to interpret things. I don't get oftentimes when I'm reading that book, I don't get like the instant interpretation. I'm like, there is just like a scene where something happens and it's just there. And you're like, okay, what do I take from this? It's a bit kind of challenging in that way, and that's an interesting choice, and kind of looks like it's a way to process something. So you can like, you remember a period of time in your life, maybe some events in your life, and you put them into the story, into the character, and you just relay what it was like without actually like going back and feeling that or something like this. The film is completely different. That's a very interesting choice. I think like makes sense because they clearly wanted to focus on the relationship, and it's very, very sincere. All the performances are very sincere. The viewer is not just like looking at it and like not being able to touch anything because there are like too many steps between what's happening and you as a viewer. The film invites you fucking in, like into the character, and all of those there are a lot of speeches in the book, routines, as the character Lee calls them, and in the book they're just there. They go, here, where is my kiwi? Here. But in the film, the kiwi fucking breathes and bleeds and speaks, and like there's so much emotion there. So you kind of you're forced to be inside those emotions that the director gave the character. That's why the film is very painful. So the book is also painful for me, but it's kind of like, what is the phrase? Something and far in between. We'll remember it later. There are a lot of things happening there. It's a fucking Burroughs's book. Burroughs's book. Those fucking routines, they continue for pages on end, and they just go to places, and to places where there are no places and everywhere, and then you're just supposed to go back. So there are those like, there is a lot of, I find this really interesting actually, like, it's too long ago, so I don't have any connection and I don't have enough knowledge, but that person lived at, like, William Burroughs lived at that time, in that place, and there were some current events, and like current situations, current problems, current trends, current, I don't know, cultural ideas at that time, and there are so many of them in the book, being kind of casually mentioned. It's kind of very, very hip, but it's like, how long ago was it? Fucking more than 70 years ago now, I think. Is it 1950s, 1940s? So there is a lot of that, which I don't understand, because I don't have access. There are a lot of those routines and just, like, conversations, or usually monologues actually, not even necessarily of the main character, just other characters also monologue. Like thought monologues, and they're just like there. So there is a lot of substance there, but it's very unemotional. And for me it's mostly confusing. It's a book that is hard for me to understand and hard for me to read. I always get a fucking headache, even though I really love the book. But then, in between that, you get like small, kind of few lines of intense, like fucking intense emotion. Painful emotion. And it's like, shit. So you still come away after reading the book with this, it hurts. The movie, especially the first two parts, because the third part is all about drugs, it's just pain and pain and pain, and it never stops. It follows it to the fucking T. The movie follows the book, especially in the first part, and like every tiny little detail, but where the book was just detached, the film is not, and everything is painful there. Everything is made to be painful, which I love. But it is like, what else did I want to say? Okay, before we get into the meat of it, this is not the meat. This is just like the appetizers. So about the changes, yeah. The third part, there is a change that I really enjoyed. Lee, the main character, and his, what shall we call him? The boy he is infatuated with. They go on a quest to find a drug in the like jungle of Ecuador, I think. And the book introduces a botanist who lives in the jungle. And they go there to meet the botanist and like try to talk him into giving him the drug. So in the book, the character is, first of all, it's a man, and there is, it's not an unusual person, just like a guy. He's a bit suspicious, and he pretty much doesn't do anything. It's like an unresolved quest. Like, we went on this trip to find this drug, all this stuff for telepathy. Not actually that much of it, but you know, if you read Burroughs, you know that there was much of it in other books. And then it's like, well, he didn't do anything for us, so that's it. Now for the epilogue. The movie, which is a choice, and again, why not? I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed what the movie did with it. So first of all, the botanist is a woman, which is nice. That's a nice change. And she's batshit crazy. That whole section is a very surreal, very, very crazy. Which kind of paints the... I find it really funny. It paints the character, the main character Lee, in a different light. Because in the book, the jungle is like okay for him, and there is this scene about going somewhere in the jungle with a gun to shoot some like animals for food. I think for food. And in the book it's pretty casual. It seems like this person has been hunting or like at least fishing or something. They have been in nature. And it's like pretty much okay, well, it's the jungle, but it's not like especially wild jungle, because they actually walk there like from the city for like about 10 hours, but still it's like it's not that wild. The movie though portrays it as like that botanist, she's been there for like 50 years and she's talking to the trees and to the witches, and she's like and she commands the animals, and the guy Lee is like completely clueless. There is this like gringo, even the outfit fits. He's completely clueless about what's going on there, like incapable of actually walking through the jungle and shooting, God forbid shooting, which is it's an interesting choice considering it's a character written by Burroughs. But both are nice. Both are nice, but different. Definitely different. Let me see what we have here. Okay, I need to stop, and then I will start again, because I'm gonna be talking for a long time now.